Hey, this is Pete Tseronis of Dots and Bridges. Critical infrastructure and cybersecurity are dominating today's headlines. Check out this clip from Ed Rhyne, Senior Technical Advisor at the United States Department of Energy, as he discusses what we can learn from human and machine behaviors to secure and transform the utility sector.
Sure. So I'm sure you've heard about the digitization of control systems. So the electronic or the electricity subsector, pretty much every critical infrastructure is moving towards more digital control. And a lot of these systems can be accessed either remotely or through a network connection. And this is a lot of the IT/OT convergence. If you can get to a control element through the internet, there's IT systems that you're going through to actually get to that controller, which is doing the OT function, so the controlling of the process. Lots of data, will require a lot of data analytics. And, Sachin brought up, a lot of really good points as far as bringing context into the equation. And, the need to not only have, let's say, the network and protocol analysis, but also the operational data to provide that context of what you're really trying to control and what constitutes anomalies. So if, you mentioned physical disruptions versus cyber, disruptions or caused disruptions. From a process point of view, they look pretty much the same. And you can make a cyber event look like a physical event by shutting down a system. Now, what's the cause of that? That's where the difficulty comes in. How do you kind of provide that evidence that what happened on that device was actually malicious? And, OT systems have, or OT environments have kind of an interesting relationship, reverse of what IT systems are. If you think of IT systems as being, your desktops and the things that people interface with all the time, there's infinite behaviors, because the person on the keyboard may not do things the same way that you do or I do or anybody else does, so there's infinite behaviors, but pretty much, limited protocols, because you're going to be doing mail, web, half a dozen or so other protocols that you use pretty much regularly. In OT systems, though, it's almost flipped over, because the OT systems, they have very finite behaviors. Relays are either on or off. Pumps can be, within a certain range, 0 to 100, or, within the process controls. But the protocols, there's almost infinite protocols, because every vendor is going to have their own implementation of a standard. And every asset owner is going to want to have their own implementation of that vendor's implementation of the standard. So as more and more things come online, you almost have infinite protocols. So it's instead of infinite behaviors and finite protocols in IT systems, in OT systems you have finite behaviors and infinite protocols. And that finite behaviors, though, is a benefit to the defenders, because it's predictable, it's stateful. You can return back to certain things. How the system's supposed to behave if you know the process. And this is where, I think having the network and protocol analysts know the operational context is important, and vice versa to some extent. So the operators, they can look at anomalies and say, what, that relay shouldn't be tripping. Let's go find out if there's actually a signal being drawn to it, from a control signal, or if there's actually load downstream that's changing. And that's where I think the context in OT environments is really, really important.
If you like what you just heard and want to hear more, be sure to tune in on June 17th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just go to dotsandbridges.com for more information. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks.